Get ready to get uncorked. It's a new kind of show. Starring me, Cindy Ashton, with special guest Susan Gala, live from the streets of New York City. This is Cindy Uncorked. Welcome! I'm Cindy Ashton, and welcome to the very first episode of Cindy Uncorked. And boy, are we going to have a lot of fun. Now, today's episode is a little bit saucy. We've got Susan Gala coming in as my special guest. We're going to look at the power of the vagina, but it's to heal trauma in the body, not the other thing you're thinking about. Then at the very end of the episode, we are going to tackle a viewer question around how do I stay in my power when I'm in conflict with somebody else? But first, we have our adventure of the week. Are you ready? For the very first time, let's get uncorked. I am super jazzed because we are going to Tanzania today in New York City, sort of. Please welcome the fabulous Ekwa and Shah from African Club Dances NYC.
Thank you for having us.
Oh my gosh, I'm so super jazzed that we are doing this today. But I'm not dressed appropriately, am I?
You're dressed just fine. I'm just taking the opportunity to wear what's more of a traditional garb. It's a fabric that's worn along, mostly along the coast, but pretty much everywhere in Tanzania, and it's called a kanga. It's
cool.
kind of like easy, it's cotton, it's free-flowing, and this is what people would just kind of wear to hang out.
What dance are we doing?
So we're going to do a dance today called chakacha.
Chakacha.
Chakacha,
Very
exactly.
rhythmic, chakacha.
Exactly.
All right.
Chakacha is a dance that's practiced mostly along the eastern coast of Africa, so not only in Tanzania but also in Kenya. And it's a lot of hip movement. It's probably very similar to sukus from Congo. It's in a lot of ways very similar to belly dancing. There's a lot of different dances that stem from, or it stems from, that are very similar, and it basically deals with this midsection, your waist movement, your hip movements, and really what that does traditionally or historically or whatever it is you're generating energy within your first and second chakras.
Get the moving.
Yeah, and men do it too.
Yes, men do it too.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's got the moves, yeah. So we've got to, I'm so excited to learn our moves. So you were starting to talk about the significance of this.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, clearly this move is a very sexual move. You've seen this even in like Jamaican dance hall, for example.
Right.
Any kind of waist movement, any kind of hip movement, but you know what? It doesn't always have to be sexual.
Right.
Because as women, when you walk, as men too, when you walk, this is what happens. It's that your hips move. And it's a very natural movement.
Right.
Focusing on this move, of course, and focusing on the energy in this area, in this pelvic area, this is your first and second chakra.
Right.
Which is your sensual area, which is your survival area.
And your sexual area, your emotional area, where you feel your safety.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's that kind of energy that you're kind of stirring up. I've heard people say that even about lovers rock, about like reggae music. It's a very similar dance when you're dancing with somebody, and these are the, it's this movement that's moving. If you dance to like zouk or compa from Haiti or kizomba from Angola, these are the areas that are igniting each other.
I would definitely say that it's just part of the culture in the sense that in the United States, we're very used to having chairs, we're very used to sitting at desks, we're very used to sitting in the park, and in many cultures, you're squatting down and you're eating. When you're cooking, you're squatting down and you're cooking. So the use of our hips, the use of our legs is very much part of our everyday lifestyle.
Oh, that's cool.
So a lot of the dances, if we're talking about dance hall, if we're talking about compa, if we're talking about coupe décalé, which comes from Ivory Coast, these dances demand that you squat in order to activate your hips.
Right.
All right, I want all of you to get up and do these moves with us. I expect to see video. Get uncorked. Okay, let's do it.
All right. Okay, there we go. All right. So this is just a basic beat. So if we wanted to kind of, as a tester, we'd go like front, back, front, and then we're gonna go side to side. So side, 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 side. And that just kind of loosens up.
Oh, it does.
Right? I mean, this is the kind of thing that you could just work on pretty much every day.
Yeah.
And then
Just
if you want to
gets you going in
connect
the
all
morning.
of it, so you start going around in a circle, right?
Oh.
Right?
You know, I keep wanting to do Middle Eastern arms.
Yeah,
Do
I
I
mean-
have to like bend my
So you can have it either on the top of your feet or with your toes curled back.
Okay.
And that might be a little easier on this floor.
Aqua, Shaw, this was super fun. My hips are all open and I'm ready to go play. Now, so next week though, we're having you back because we're going to talk about how this really relates to having healthier marriages and relationships with men and women and the differences between religions in this dance. It's going to be very eye-opening. Can't
Fantastic.
wait.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This segment of Life in the Streets has been brought to you by The Diet Rebellion by Dr. Carrie Fullerton. Live life, love food, be free. How do you feel when I say the word vagina?
I feel I feel a little bit apprehensive. I've never heard anyone say vagina randomly to me, but
Oh, how does it make me feel?
Makes me happy. Smile. What can I say?
Maybe a little squeamish, but okay. Okay.
It actually reminds me of my name because some people pronounce my name Regina here. So
Because I have a 2.5-year-old little girl, and recently she was scratching at her vagina, but we kept referring it to her JJ. We would say, does your JJ itch? How's your JJ? Or how's your tushy? Does your tushy? But we didn't seem to say the word vagina.
Very good, positive, powerful word, quite honestly. Vaginas are going to control the world.
Vagina is great.
All right, everybody, for the hot topic of the week, the very first hot topic of the week, we're going to talk about the vagina. Now, I know some of you watching are like, yes, we're going to talk about the vagina. And some of you are watching this going, oh, did she say that word on television? Is it a dirty word? Well, today we have a really, really special guest. Vagina has huge amounts of power and it is an amazing part of our body. And I'm so honored because today we're going to talk about the power of the vagina to heal trauma in your body. And we have a very special guest. Her name is Susan Gala, and we love to call her the Womb Whisperer. Hello!
Cindy, how are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy we're talking about vaginas on the first very episode of Cindy Uncorked.
And I'm thrilled.
And I'm great. I'm so happy that we're getting uncorked about this. So before we jump in, tell me, how do you define trauma? Because some people think trauma is one thing, they think it's something else. So let's get crystal clear about that.
Sure. You're correct. Trauma can be many things. So when I talk about trauma, it's not just about sexual abuse, rape. It could be emotional trauma. I'm talking about deep-seated issues or secrets that women hold below the belly.
Right.
So they could be childbirth, a traumatic childbirth. It could be loss, abortion, miscarriage. The lingering effects of female cancers, ovarian cancer, it could be bladder cancer. The other secrets that women keep because they have lingering effects from them is fibroids, endometriosis, hysterectomy.
Right.
But also symptoms of menopause as women age. This is a very deep-seated secret, vaginal dryness and sexual pain. Sexual pain just doesn't come with menopause.
Right.
I really believe that there is a lot of sexual pain with women who have been affected by different traumas. Our vagina shuts down, or like I say, it really gets angry.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you talk about the vagina getting angry. I remember I had a coach about 5 years ago, and in our first session, she says, okay, so what is your vagina saying to you? And I was like, excuse me? Did you just say, what is my vagina saying to me? And she's like, I want you every night when you go to bed, get a journal and talk to your vagina. And I said, this woman is like loopy. I thought she was out of her mind. I mean, talk to my vagina, people, like really? And I have to tell you, when you talk about an angry vagina, I had an angry vagina. I sat there and I'm like, hi vagina, the thing you'd like to tell me today is, and then it came out pages of how angry it was and how ignored she felt and how traumatized she felt. And like you said, I thankfully have never had any kind of sexual abuse, but I've had other types of trauma, and I think your definition was so right. But I was amazed by learning to talk to my vagina and really listen to her. I realized that there's a deep-seated power in her that transcended anything else, and it has been a huge healer for me. So I'm very curious. We know what trauma is, but how does it sit in the vagina?
I love that question. Because I consider this entire body very sacred.
Right, of course.
And this is our sacred center. But there's a huge connection between the brain and the vagina. And the pelvic neural network is fascinating.
Okay.
But I want to talk about the structure of the pelvis and why this is so important, because there are a lot of nerve endings. And here is our pelvis.
I love it. Okay.
So this is the beauty of our body. Isn't it pretty? It looks like a butterfly.
It does.
So in the back of the pelvis, this little triangle bone is the sacrum right here. The spine is connected right in here.
Right.
So during trauma, we freeze. I always say a woman is generally frozen below the belly button.
Oh yeah,
I call
you
it the
can
dead
see
zone.
it, right? You can
Yes.
see it in their body language and their
Yes,
body posture.
absolutely. I call it the dead zone. During fight, fright, or freeze, right? This is what happens during trauma. This bottom of the body will become locked. Okay, there's a real important muscle in here that does get locked up and very contracted, which is the psoas muscle. It's the only muscle in the body that's connected in front of the spine and behind the spine. But what's very interesting about this is, so here's your spinal column. It travels up the center of your body.
Right.
And on either side of the spine are these little nerve endings. And I say, think of like little branches of trees, right?
Right.
That spinal column goes all the way up to the middle of your neck, right, the cervical, up into your brain. So during this time of fight, fright, or freeze, it begins here and it ends up here, and all these signals are going on and saying, hey, what just happened?
Right. And we don't think about that. We don't think about the neurons and all the everything firing off and communicating to each other.
Right.
Very interesting. So what are some of the ways that women who have trauma sitting in their vagina, how are some of the ways they shut down? How does it affect their everyday?
I always say the first thing that it affects is their posture, their body language.
Oh, yes.
Their presence is completely off, whether they're sitting, whether they're walking, even if they're in their office.
Right.
Even if they're exercising in their physical activities. I'll find that most women are generally one-sided.
Right.
Like this and like this. They're very shut off, very, very closed and contracted here.
You know, I also find...
So the energy is shut down.
Right. And you know, and I also find that because they're so shut off there, their breathing is higher because they have no connection to that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It affects the breath. We need that breath. Okay, so it's shallow breath, right?
Right.
So a few things happen during trauma. During trauma, I always find that these women are shut down in their throat, in their heart, and in their sacral center, okay?
Right.
Right, so the sacral chakra is right here, the place of birth, abundance, passion, desire, creativity. It sits right here.
Right.
So when we're shut down, I'm not saying we lose our voice, but we lose the communication. We're not able to speak our truth.
Right.
We can't find it possible to be authentic. So we don't feel this. Like it's like a numb feeling, but we're really not numb.
Right.
It's like there's a shadow in front of us.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm very curious. We have to take a commercial break. But now that we're talking about what's happening in the body, being shut down has direct influence on our relationships, our romantic relationships, how much money we make, our careers, our relationships with family. So after the break, we're going to talk about that. But in the meantime, we have commercial break, and then we are going live from the streets and asking women what their relationship with their vagina is like. Stay tuned.
Are you truly living in the now, or are you just okay, caught on an endless hamster wheel of work, struggling to be the mom you desire to be, and feeling your relationships straining under the pressure? Hi, I am Yai, and my course, Prosperity Now, will show you how to stop tolerating just okay and tap into the joy of abundance. When you powerfully live in the now, you will have a career that lights you up, raise happy and fulfilled children, and cultivate a deep, loving relationship with your partner. Go to prosperitynowcourse.com for more information on how to create your prosperous life by harnessing the power of now.
Want more Cindy? Join her and professional speaker Jason Reed on the Speaking for Profit podcast, as they talk about how you can influence your audience, whether it's one person or 1,000. How uncorked do they get? You're going to have to tune in to find out.
What's your relationship with your vagina?
My relationship with my vagina, I guess it's a good one. I am going through menopause, so, maybe we're not getting along as well as we used to. However, I think it's still okay.
My relationship with my vagina is, I would say, a very friendly and loving relationship.
I think that's fantastic. I love it.
Well, my vagina, I've been married to her for about 37 years.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe. This is what all men should be like with their wives and the one vagina in their life. Well, that was very enlightening, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. All right, so Susan, we're back. And I would love to know, how does being shut down show up in everyday real world life?
Shut down in real world life is we live with so much shame and we feel that we're not worthy.
Right.
So we feel invisible.
Okay.
We feel that we really don't belong. Personally.
Right.
In an office, it's a little bit different in an office, especially if we feel that we should have a higher paying job, if we feel like there's a lot of competition. We may feel that we need to be competitive, or we may feel jealous, but we end up, there's so much anger in our bodies. We really have so much more masculine energy,
right,
feminine energy.
Which is really about that, it gets pushing, right?
Yes, yes, and I think women are not really understanding that feminine energy is so much stronger.
Right.
Because you're present in your body, you're more aware, and your confidence and awareness is so high, and it energizes you.
So for me, when I was shut down, in my body, I know for me it showed up in not asking for as much money as I wanted, not asking at all for what I needed, being in relationships where I always felt like it was a struggle and like I wasn't seen, I wasn't heard. I often felt like I was begging for attention, and I was depleted and exhausted all the time. And so I still bust my little bum and I work hard, but I don't have the struggle. And instead of men kind of taking me for granted, I know that I'm loved and adored and taken care of, and it's beautiful. And that's been an amazing transition when I started to tap into the power of my vagina. So I want to ask you, because you're so knowledgeable and you're so brilliant at this work, I would love to know what brought you to this. Tell us.
Thank you for asking. I was living in New York City, living my dream life in a loft in Chelsea.
Nice.
Yeah, it really was. And in the middle of the night, I heard a big crash, and I woke up to 5 hooded men, and they tied me up and kept me at knife point. But I'm here.
You are here.
I'm here. That was yesterday. This is today.
It is.
And I feel that I have been gifted with a treasure.
That's beautiful.
And so it is a treasure.
Yeah. And so for you, as part of your healing journey, was it really about reigniting, like talking to your vagina and giving her a voice and healing her?
It was, but it was also something, I'd say, just as big as that. Talking about it.
Yeah.
Telling people what had happened to me. Because there's a difference when a woman goes through what I went through, if they have no support from family or friends, they really shut down.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me.
And you know, one of the things that I love about you is that you don't carry this all in your body anymore. And I find sometimes people, they'll tell you what they've been through and you can see it's in their voice and it's in their body. And I'm like, oh, honey, please get some help. And it's from the most loving and compassionate place. And I think it's such a testament to you that you're here and you don't carry it in your body, you don't carry it in your presence. You're so beautiful and so feminine, it's gorgeous. What holds women back from tapping into their vaginas and the power of it?
They're not aware of it. I don't even think that they're aware of this beautiful, sacred anatomy,
Right.
which is very magical and holds a lot of mystery.
Yes, it does.
So
Yes.
that mystery is, what is that secret that you're keeping? How much longer do you want to feel the way that you're feeling? I always say now is the time to live fully. Now is the time to live while you're alive.
I would love, before we head off, I would love for you to do an exercise with us to start to tap into our vaginal power.
Sure.
All right.
Would you like to stand?
Okay, let's do that.
Yes. Open your legs a little bit wider, soften your
Okay.
knees.
Gonna
And if you
soften
could
my knees.
press your heels into the earth, you could
Oh, I'm
actually
in high heels. Okay, I can do
know.
this.
Actually feel your vagina opening up a little bit. Think of it as petals
I can
opening
feel
up.
it.
Okay? So when we're breathing properly, the diaphragm is going to drop down and help open up that passageway. On the
Beautiful.
exhale, it floats back up.
Susan, this has been absolutely beautiful and so eye-opening, and what a great topic for our first show of Cindy Uncorked. So, Susan, they can find you at susangala.com. And if you are really interested in being able to connect with her and open and blossom, then you can go to susangala.com/talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's huggy time.
Yes.
Hey, it is time for Twitter Uncorked. The question for this week is, how do you stay in your power when you are in conflict? At Talk with Abby said, sometimes it's not about being right, but being happy. I ask myself, is this worth my energy and peace of mind? At Transform Dance said, reflect on what's important and how you'd like to experience this relationship in the future. Suggest constructive options to move forward. At DK Jackson said, by asking, what is here to learn or teach? And finally, at Lori Krukel says, stay out of ego and focus on the outcome you seek. Do you want to get uncorked? Watch for next week's question on my Twitter feed at Cindy Ashton.
My name is Maxine Warsh, and I'd like to introduce you to the washcloth. Simple to use, water only. With a warm cloth, you're going to remove all of your makeup. My face is clean and smooth and exfoliated, water only. The washcloth. Some people call it a miracle, I call it practical.
I know you. Like me, you're a socially conscious entrepreneur, already creating a legacy in your business, living what you believe in, and nothing will stop you. Except having a web presence that's just okay. The world needs to see your work, your passion, your gift, Let's show it to them. I'm Michelle Empson, and together we will build a digital platform that will be the foundation for your business growth. I did this for CindyUncorked.com, and I want to do it for you. So visit me today at sanctuary-studios.net, and let's get started.
This segment of Influence Uncorked was brought to you by Your Persuasive Voice with me, Cindy Ashton. Presentation and communication skills training to boost your influence. You know those moments when you're having a conversation and it's just going, woo! It's going all the way south and you're getting in conflict. All right, viewer question of the day is, how do you stay in your power when you're in conflict? Here's the deal. When you're in conflict, what most people tend to do is they tend to speed up their speech and they tend to over-explain. So for example, let's say that you're going into work and you missed a deadline and your boss says, hey Judy, you missed a deadline. Here's what a lot of people start to do. They go into their panic and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that I missed that deadline. You don't understand, my child was throwing up last night, and then this morning I tried to leave early, and when I got out the door, I was running and I tripped, and then I scratched my knee and I had to put a Band-Aid on, and then I had to do this, and blah, 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 wah, 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 wah. Can you see how that takes away your power? Kind of brutal, right? So what do you do? Let's talk about it. So when you have some kind of a conflict, you don't over-explain. The minute you start over-explaining, first of all, you give people ammunition to be able to use against you and argue back. Really, don't give people ammunition. Take away the gun, for heaven's sakes, right? Right. So that's the first thing, is don't over-explain. Stick to facts and don't go into story like, oh, my daughter was barfing and then I tripped and I had blood and da-da-da-da-da, right? You gotta really stick to the facts. So it's like, you're right. I didn't get the report in on time. I'll have it on your desk by 11 a.m. Poof, that's it. No drama, no explanation, no story. You just really got to get to the core of what that person wants and needs to hear from you to be in your power. It's like, yep, you're right, and here's a solution to that. So when you're in conflict, no over-explaining, no storytelling, get to the facts, give the solution. But the other thing you want to do is notice how fast your speech is, because when we get stressed and nervous, we tend to go, right? So you want to just breathe, get in your body, slow down, and feel your power. There you have it. We did it! We got through the very first episode of Cindy Uncorked! So stay tuned, because next week is going to be super hot. We are going to continue on this theme around our sexuality. We're going to be tackling sexuality in the workplace. Is it appropriate? Is it not appropriate? With the fabulous Jamie Dawn, as well as a bunch of other goodies coming your way. But in the meantime, go and check out our web exclusives, because I have gotten uncorked with my singing. And Brenda from Hamilton, Ontario has a special request for Charmaine Carr, who had just passed away. She was the star of The Sound of Music, Liesl. And of course, she's going to have me sing 16, going on 17, but I'm clearly not 16. But just go with me, people, go with me. All right, have a great week and continue to get uncorked.